I'd like to call this meeting to order on February 18th, 2015 at 7:05. Would you please join Councilman Adams in the invocation this evening?
Dear Lord, look down upon this humble group that is gathered together as caring citizens. Please give us the grace to push past our differences and work together as professionals. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out on this cold evening.
Adams, Jones, here. Zabrati,
Here.
Jackson,
Here.
Brownlee,
Here.
Jazinski,
Excused.
Agee.
Here. The public hearing is now called to order at 7:06 according to Article 16, Section 2 of the Chapter and of 12 Charter and Chapter 1268 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Maple Heights. The public hearing is to permit the public to speak in opposition or in favor of the proposed zoning amendments requested by the Planning and Zoning Commission. If you wish to speak in favor or against this recommendation, you must state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
2014 Planning and Zoning, case number 13. A recommendation by the Planning and Zoning Commission to City Council pursuant to Section 126804A for zoning map amendments. And due to the recommendations made by the Commission in reviewing 2014 Planning and Zoning Case Number 12 and its findings in said case, as well as for maintaining the economic viability of existing land, both developed and undeveloped, and in keeping with the city's overall economic development, to recommend the following zoning map amendments. On Dunham Road, Turney Dunham Plaza area, 20 parcels. Currently, general commercial is to be rezoned neighborhood commercial. Number 1, 6 parcels on the east side of Dunham Road between Turney Road and Rowena. Number 2, 4 parcels on the east side of Dunham Road between Shirley and Turney Road. Number 3, 1 parcel on the northwest corner of the Turney-Dunham intersection, 6120 Dunham Road. Number 4, 1 parcel on Turney Road, 15003 Turney Road. Number 5, 2 parcels on the west side of Dunham Road between Turney Road and Maple Heights City property, 6134 through 6188 Dunham Roads, also known as Turney Dunham Plaza. Currently residential, to be rezoned neighborhood commercial. 6 parcels on the east side of Dunham Road between Rowena and Mendota. On Warrensville Center, between Libby and Rockside Roads, 9 parcels. 3 parcels on the west side of Warrensville Center Road, beginning at Stockton Avenue and heading south until reaching current general commercial zone, 5310 through 5332 Warrensville Center Road. 6 parcels on the east side of Warrensville Center Road, beginning at Rockside Road and heading north until reaching current general commercial zone, 5601 through 5525 Warrensville Center Road. Number 8 above assumes that Council has amended a map to reflect the Commission's recommendation for a map pursuant to applicant 2014 PZ 12. If, however, the Council has not adopted this Commission's recommendation on said case, number 8 should be amended to read 8 parcels on the east side of Lawrenceville Center Road, beginning at Rockside Road and heading north until reaching the current general commercial zone, 5601 through 5501, Lawrenceville Center Road. And finally, on Northfield Road between Hill Road Avenue and Franklin Road, 6 parcels, currently general commercial, to be rezoned as neighborhood commercials. On the west side of Northfield Road between Hillgrove Avenue and Franklin Road.
Are there any proponents to case number 2014 PZ-13? Are there any proponents to case number 2014 PZ-13? Are there any proponents to case number 2014 PZ-13? Are there any opponents to case number 2014 PZ-13? Are there any opponents to case number 2014 PZ-13? Are there any opponents to case number 2014 PZ-13? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed at 7:10. There is no addendum this evening, but we do have communications. Council Clerk?
Yes, from the Department of Liquor Control, the third notice with changes for a C liquor license transfer from Bangla Gas Incorporated to Aisha Gas Incorporated at 14196 Granger Road, Maple Heights, Ohio.
There are no committee reports this evening, so we will move directly to the department reports. Fire Department Chief Cavalinis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calls and date for the fire department are 633. Just to remind everyone with the issues caused by this persistent cold spell that we've been having, everybody's furnaces are running more so than they probably have had in a long time. Having functional seal detectors and smoke detectors are key. Please avoid heating with your ovens and ranges, and use caution with the use of space heaters. Again, keeping walks and hydrants clear if possible. Be cautious of pedestrians walking in the street due to impassable walkways. Also pay attention to vacant homes that you might have in your neighborhood, for example, flowing water, icing, etc. If you do notice anything, please let the fire department know. We'll come out and check it out for you. Also, exposure to skin in the severe cold, frostbite, and hypothermia can occur very quickly. And again, please just check on your neighbors and elderly if possible. End of report.
Thank you, Chief. Law Department, Mr. Melling.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Police Department, Chief Popolarczyk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Year to date, the Police Department has responded to 2,714 total calls for service. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the recent homicide/shooting at the R-Bar about a week ago. We did make 2 arrests in that case. We still are looking for 1 suspect. The arrests were made with the assistance of the SEAL SWAT team and arrest team, and it ended after our officers were involved in a vehicle pursuit that ended in Cleveland in the Lee Miles area. 2 people, like I said, were taken into custody. We're still looking for 1. If anyone has information regarding that, please contact the Maple Heights Police Department Detective Bureau. Issues the 216-662-1234 number. Last meeting, there were some statements made regarding the suspects and the whole circumstances surrounding that shooting at the bar. I'd like to clarify just a couple of them. First off, the suspects were in fact patrons of the bar. They were not just outside the parking lot, as was stated. They were patrons. It was pretty clear on the video evidence that was provided. Secondly, and kind of most disturbing to me, is that there were no phone calls to our police department from anyone at the bar. No one in the parking lot bothered to call. The reports that we got, or the initial report, was from the off-duty Lawrenceville Heights police officer who was working security at South Point Hospital, and our second report came from OIU the Ohio Investigative Unit Liquor Control because they were responding to that bar for a separate incident. That resulted in roughly a 9-minute delay in response time from the time the shooting occurred until our officers arrived on scene. Obviously, we can't be there if people don't call us. How you don't call if there's a shooting in the parking lot, you're a witness to it, I don't really understand. But I wanted to make people aware of that were here at the meeting and kind of clear that up. Finally, with the inclement weather coming this weekend, be aware that the snow bans will probably be placed in effect. Certainly, the service department will be out trying to plow. Just ask that you watch your TV news stations, check the city websites, your Facebook page to see if in fact that the snow ban is in effect. It'll also be posted on the radio. So don't park your vehicles in the street, and mostly it's something that we've been seeing a little bit of here is do not leave them running with the keys in them. That has been occurring. A couple of them have been stolen, and you're also subject to receive a citation if you do that. So please don't do that. When you warm your car up, if you're going to warm your car up, make sure you stay with it. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Chief. Human Services Department, Mrs. Volpan.
Thank you, Madam President. A reminder that we are still taking appointments for income tax service here at the Senior Center. The appointments we're booking now are March 30th, but there are still some available. They're from 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, and they're open to anyone that needs their income tax done. We've been notified by the Department of Senior and Adult Services that in addition to the monies that we were funded in the 2015-2016 cycle, they will be going, Tracy Mason, the Director of the Department of Senior and Adult Services, will be going before City County Council on the 24th of February to request an additional $47,000 for this year and $47,000 for next year to help with our funding problems. Again, what happens if we're not open? The money follows the client. So it's given because they're trying to help us see us through this difficulty, but the money follows the client if something should happen. Again, we'll know better. They'll be voting on the 24th. It's going to be presented. They're looking to give some money to us and some money to East Cleveland to also stay open. And a reminder to all of you, the Ohio Department of Taxation is warning people that if you get an email from the Ohio Department of Taxation, do not open it. There's a considerable amount of fraud going on with the taxes, with the Ohio taxes. They're actually sending checks to people who shouldn't be getting the money. So if you get a letter in the mail, that one will have a survey in it, and there will be questions that are pointed to you. So only you will be able to answer them. For instance, a question might be, what is your oldest child's social security number? So you would be able to find that out, but nobody else. They're asking if you and your spouse, what was the first zip code you lived in? Those are the kind of questions. So they're very pointed. If you get the survey in the mail, you have to answer it and you have to return it to get your tax return from the state of Ohio. If you get an email, it is recommended that you not open it and you call the Ohio Department of Taxation to see if that is indeed how they contacted you. They are contacting most people by mail. So just a warning to keep that in mind. Do not open it if it's on your computer and email. Call the Department of Taxation and find out if that is indeed what they want you to do. Okay, thank you. End of report.
Thank you. Finance Department, Mrs. Crowell.
Good evening. Per the request of our chair, I just want to give you an overview of this financial fiscal emergency situation. Some of you may or may not know that last year the city was declared a fiscal watch. And so there's 3 steps: fiscal caution, fiscal watch, and then fiscal emergency. Also, I think it's important for you to understand that this is a state in time. It may or may not be a continuous situation. There are 6 criteria conditions that they use to judge where we should be placed. So according to those 6, which I will read to you, 2 of them, they say that we were, I guess, in violation, that existed. There was an existence of that condition. I would also like to point out that the report was as of the 31st of December, and the 31st of January. So it does not mean that some of these conditions existed for the whole year, and it does not mean that some of them exist for now. So I'll give you an example. When I go through this report, and it's on the website if anyone wants to download it, the conditions that they gave. Okay, condition number 1, default on any debt obligation. There had been contact with the OWDA, which is Ohio Water Development, where the city has loaned for sewer and drains and what have you. And there's 2 payments due every year, one on January 1st and the other one in July 1st. And you have until the end of the month to pay. I contacted them on December the 1st, and I spoke with them to let them know that if we could pay a little later than the January the 1st because of other obligations. There was no opposition to that, okay? And there's documentation to show that. The payment was in fact made on February the 11th. I have the council check, so that existence is no longer there. So I'm just letting you know that just because they say it doesn't mean that it continues or that it was at that point. On January the 31st, which was the first time, it was not paid on January 31st. So they looked at that date. That was a snapshot. So on February the 1st, they declared us in fiscal emergency, although it wasn't announced until the 13th. So I just wanted you to know. The other condition that they had, condition number 2, which did not qualify, we're not in violation, is payment of all payroll. So that was not an issue. Our payroll is paid. The condition number 3 is increase in minimal levy, which means that we increase our millage and all of this. That did not exist. Condition number 4, pass through accounts payable from the general fund and all funds. We had no issues with that. Condition number 5, deficit fund balances. We were cited for that. The city has been in deficit all year when they came in, so that's not surprising to anyone. It did increase because during 2014, there was a lot of 2013 bills and obligations that we had to meet, which increased the deficit. That's understandable. Then also, they cited 2 funds. The general fund at the deficit of 2.6. Also, the bond retirement at $211,000. The bond retirement has not been in deficit, and is not in deficit now. It was not in deficit on December 31st. It was not in deficit on January 31st. There were some adjustments that they had not posted that would show that that fund actually has a surplus of $76,000. So, you know, is that. The other deficit was treasury deficit, and that was not a condition. So actually it was the 3 items that actually was mentioned, that on January the 31st, we were 2 weeks late paying our loan, so they put us in fiscal emergency. The general fund had a deficit, which it did. It had one all year long. And then the debt service had a deficit, which was not actually a fact. So I just wanted you to know that. I have written a note to council to explain that, and I'll just share some of the points with you in my response. When they put us in Fiscal Watch last year, you see, I started at the end of January. I think it was in April something. I had just started when they put the city in Fiscal Watch. Just for your information, the aggregate deficits that they were referring to, there were 8 funds that were in deficit at the time that they put us in Fiscal Watch. There were 8, okay? And then the criteria was that the deficits exceeded the allowable amount. They allow you like 1/12 of your revenue or something. Okay, the deficit exceeded by $1,000,004. This is in the Fiscal Watch. This year, for fiscal emergency, actually we only had 1 fund in deficit, which is the general fund. And it was only $531,000, so explain the math. Also, the treasury that they talked about is saying that we were in deficit of $16,000. which was on the Fiscal Watch last year. This year, on the Fiscal Emergency analysis, we have a surplus of $597,000. So I wanted to share that so the city wouldn't panic. It's not as grim as it seemed. In my opinion, we're actually doing better than what we were doing last year, but it's all about that snapshot on that date. If we had paid the loan on January 31st, it wouldn't have existed, but the loan is paid now, okay? So that's all I wanted to share. Now, there is a process. They'll set up a commission. There's 5 members on this commission, some selected by the mayor. I think there's one appointed by the governor, and so on and so forth. They come in monthly and have a meeting like what we're having now, and they have auditors here, the same ones that's been working every month, every week here all year long. They will go over the books to make their report from the records that we have and present them. And then, of course, you know, it'll be votes amongst the commission, but everyone is a public meeting, anyone can attend. And so once they get started, we have 120 days from the first meeting date, whenever that meeting date occurs. We have 120 days from then to submit a 5-year forecast on how we're going to eliminate the deficit that they pronounced in the declaration. And then after then, you know, they'll work with you, and the goal is to decrease the deficit and eventually bring it back into the black. That concludes my report. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. That clarifies a lot of questions that almost everybody, I'm sure, have had. And if you read the neighborhood news, there's some information on there also. I don't know whether we have any back there, but you might want to check that one out as well. Citizens' comments, if you'd like to step up to the podium and share some information with us, you are welcome to do that. Your name and your address. You have 3 minutes to give us whatever you'd like to say.
My name is James Jones, and I'm a neighbor and live in Warrensville Heights. However, I look at this as a big community here. I work for an organization called ESOP. ESOP stands for Empowering and Strengthening Ohio's People. We are a nonprofit organization, and we provide free services for the communities in Cuyahoga County and actually the state, because we are a statewide organization. I guess we're best known for our foreclosure prevention. As a matter of fact, I'm proud to say that ESOP has saved more than 32,000 homeowners from foreclosure in the state of Ohio. Of course, we know that when you're a funded organization, the funding comes and the funding goes. Well, right now, the funders seem to think that the foreclosure epidemic is over. However, it is not. But being a nonprofit organization, we had to look in other areas that is affecting our communities. And we looked and we saw several things. Number one, we need more educated home buyers. So we have developed a home buyers education class, which once a person completes the class, they stand a chance to receive some down payment assistance. We also have a one-on-one financial budgeting and financial literacy class for anyone living in Cuyahoga County for this particular office. And then we looked and we did a little research, and we found out that one of the other issues that plagues our community is elder exploitation. And we found out that that is the #2 crime behind identity theft. So we contacted and have been contacted by the Finance Protection Bureau in Washington, D.C. We have a whole curriculum and workshop that we can present for seniors. It's a 6-module workshop, and I would like to bring that to Maple Heights and the senior conglomerate here. And then talking with other councils from other cities, we find out that a lot of our seniors are losing homes not because of delinquent mortgage payments, but they're losing their homes because of delinquent property tax. So we ventured out and we do a collaboration with Third Federal Savings and Loan, Faith Community Credit Union, and ESOP. And what we do is we've developed a short-term senior property loan program so that our seniors won't lose their homes for delinquent property tax. My request to the council is to do a collaboration, and I would head this collaboration along with other community service organizations and do an outreach event somewhere here in Maple Heights. I think it's very important. If you don't know, ignorance, I learned a long time ago, is not a bad word. It just means that you don't know. And this would be an effort, a community collaborative effort, to bring some of the community services here to Maple Heights. And I think some of the services, free services at that, would be very valuable to the community. I thank you for your time. And I'll have some flyers sitting in the back here for anyone that wants them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Madam President? Mr. Jones, I'm the Director of Human Services, and I just want to thank you for all the people that you've helped that we have referred to you from our department, both seniors and young families that have come to you, and you've offered a lot of assistance and helped them out. And I don't think there's one that we sent to you that was not saved. So I thank you for your service already to the community, and I would be happy to work with you to bring those programs to Maple Heights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peterson, I live on Waterbury Avenue. My question is for Ms. Agee. Councilman. I spoke to you about a month ago.
Yes, you did.
And you never returned my phone call. The neighbors that I gave you the address and everything for, I actually had to go to somebody else to get answers for. And it's pretty bad when I have to go to a different council person to get answers that I should be getting out of you. The neighbors that I discussed it with you, they're ruining my lawn because the plows are putting the snow from theirs in mine. They're ruining my lawn. They did it last year. I just really don't appreciate being ignored when people ask you questions. You tell them, it was the weekend I spoke to you. You asked me to give you till Monday. You returned my phone call. That was what, a month ago? I know there's a lot going on in Maple Heights right now, but I really don't appreciate not getting a call back from you. And I kind of think this flyers, to me, it's funny because it says dealing with neighbors. There's 3 nuisance homes on our street. It's a joke, and I'm surrounded by them. The house directly across from me probably has 45 cars in and out of the driveway a day. Put 2 and 2 together. The one next door to us that I spoke to you about, all I want to do is find out who the landlord is. Because, like I said, I mean, I'm, in and out, music all hours of the night, horns all hours of the night. My husband gets up at 3 in the morning to go to work. I don't want to hear a horn an hour before he gets up to go to work. My dog doesn't bark all day long. I could very well put my window up and let him bark all day long. I turn my music up. But no, I have more respect for my neighbors than that. 2 homes down from us. The house has been empty for 2 years. The gentleman moved out. It's supposed to be foreclosed on. Still sitting there. The grass gets this high in the summertime. Nothing's ever done about it. Like I said, to me, this flyer, it's a joke.
Could you please give us your address?
18408.
Madam Chair, can I start? Okay, because I have something to tell you. She didn't call me back.
Greetings, Council, Chief, Staff of Shennet 15051 Dennis Drive, District 1, Alex Council. I'm here to just kind of piggyback on the gentleman said here. I believe you also help people with disability. I believe this service is the same. That is a great service that's being offered. There was a federally funded service called Save the Dream, and I believe in March those funds are going to be exhausted, or not going to be able to appeal or apply to those funds. So just to hear that they have other organizations out here to help people going through foreclosure, that's great. That's great news. Also, the report that was just given in regards to our finance. At first, it seemed doom and gloom, but it's good to hear that, and I know about deadlines. Sometimes you don't meet those deadlines, you put the reports out. So it's great to hear that it's not as bad as we think it is. And that being said, I'm also a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission in the city, and I just want to just quickly talk about in the background. We are doing things to bring businesses to the city, and I know you guys heard council speak about the map zoning changes. Those are things that we're trying to push because as we're digging ourselves out of this hole, being able to get reputable businesses in the city is going to be a blessing to Maple Heights. It truly is. There are a number of businesses over in District 7, over in the Southgate area. Councilwoman McGee has helped us with that and bringing in these business owners and talking to those business owners and giving us information so that we can make a rational decision on if these businesses fit the city. And it's good to see nationally owned businesses come to the city, or in position to come to the city, I should say. So it's not all doom and gloom. So that Maple Heights residents can see. And I know when we have businesses, we're just talking about a district, we're talking about the whole city. We can encourage one another, not get too disappointed, not get down on one another. We know that the old saying, truth, precious earth will rise again. So we will dig ourselves out of this. We will be a blessing, not only to our neighbors, but to other cities that watch us take on a challenging time and come out victorious. Thank you.
Thank you.